Good morning. My name is Teresa. I've been a Vincentian volunteer for more than 5 years, focusing on helping our neighbors restore hope and rebuild their lives as they become self-sustaining. What's most rewarding about being a part of St. Vincent de Paul has been the opportunity to meet special people such as Lupe and her family. What most inspires me about Lupe is the great lengths she goes to in order to support her family. She loves them so deeply, and like all of us who are parents, there is nothing she wouldn't do for her children, nothing she wouldn't sacrifice. Please join me in welcoming Lupe and her children.
Thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Guadalupe Gavino. I was raised in Arizona, and I'm the oldest of 7 children that my mother raised as a single parent. Growing up, life was not easy. There were good times, there were bad times, and there were worse times. And it was my mom's strength and love for us that created that foundation for what I would one day want for my own family. Now that I have my own family, I do understand her struggles and value my mom even more. Life with my husband and 5 children has not been a walk in the park, but it has been perfect nonetheless. Over the past 2 years, the struggle has been a lot more evident. The recession had no preference over wealth, race, or social status. At the time, I was working at a large company. It was a good, dependable job. Granted, we were living paycheck to paycheck, but the bills were paid and our children were provided for. Then in March of 2014, another mass layoff happened, and I was one of the unlucky ones. I was worried, but I knew that I would bounce back quickly because my whole life I've been a fighter, and this was no different. I quickly found employment through a temp agency and got back to work. A year later, my husband and I were blessed with a baby. However, he was born early and we didn't have quite enough time to build up our savings before going on maternity leave. I started to fall behind on bills, but I was optimistic because I was doing a great job in the office and there were plans to move me into a permanent role. My landlord worked with me on the rent, and I was just about caught up at the end of July when I was let go due to another budget cut. Just as quickly as I had caught up, I suddenly fell behind. I was faced with a decision to pay bills or feed my kids. Because my husband's income wasn't enough, I applied for any possible jobs. I was behind on the August and September rent. Our water was shut off, and October rent was coming. And at this point, I was thinking that yes, we might end up on the streets. I tried to put on a brave face for my kids, but Anthony here, my 13-year-old son, is a realist just like me. He worries as much as I do. He wanted to get a job and help me with the bills, but I told him that his only job is to be a kid and let me worry about being an adult, because I don't want my kids to have to grow up as fast as I did. More time went by, every door was closing around me, and I was getting more stressed every week. But finally, one door swung open. At the end of September, I was offered a job, and I cried tears of joy when they told me over the phone. After I hung up, I announced the good news to my husband. He was in disbelief, and he said to me, "I prayed so hard for you to get this job last night. I knew that this was the one job you really wanted. And my mom and your aunt were all praying as well." Sometimes God and people work behind the scenes to make things happen for you. I was relieved, but my struggle wasn't over. I was given an eviction notice, and that's when I finally started to fall apart. I had a job, I had a way out, but I still had no money for 2 months worth of rent. I've always had a hard time asking for help. I'm usually the one to take care of my family. And my mom was struggling at the time to care for other family members, so I couldn't go to her with this also. Out of options, I called St. Vincent de Paul, and Teresa was the one who helped me pull everything together. Teresa and the others came over to bring us food boxes and helped us pay for rent and the utility bills. With every visit and every call, I felt weight lifting off of my shoulders. I was at work when my husband called to let me know that the water was back on. My kids took turns to turn the faucet on. Celebrating something as simple as water flowing out, it was then that I knew I would never take anything else for granted again. I've always been a believer, but now my faith is even stronger after seeing everyone have faith in me, praying for me, and helping me. My family is stable now. We are still recovering from all that's happened. I constantly talk to my kids about volunteering and giving back. And I can now see it's everyone pitching in that makes all the difference in someone's life. Thank you.